is a member of the Mice Chat Podcast Network. MicePod.com. Now, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Warning, this show contains childish adult content and is intended for immature, mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised. The views spoken are ours and ours alone, not those of any other bugger. If you're easily offended, we strongly suggest finding another podcast. Everybody neat and pretty? Then on with the show.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Let's put on the show.
Growing older is mandatory. Growing up is optional. Disafterdark, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Good evening, dear listener, and welcome to Series 3, Episode 1B, I guess, of Disafterdark, the one where we haven't changed our new theme music just yet. I'm Paul.
I'm Nick.
Oh, and I'm the other Paul.
And Craig's working tonight, because some of us have to.
Well, we're saying Craig's working tonight. He's actually been taken back to mental asylum. Of people that listened to episode 1A would have taken note. He'll be back soon.
Yeah, the reason we're going down the 1A, 1B route is because this is really just a continuation of the last show, as opposed to a brand new show. So, neat. But gentlemen, let's start as we mean to go on. What are we drinking?
Okay, I'll start.
Yeah.
So I got a Bulmer's Autumn Cider, and that the connection is maybe not so scary. Because I'm sure they drink cider at that.
Yeah, I'll let Nick go last on this one. But I've gone for also a Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween theme. I've gone for a Witchwood Brewery's Pumpkin.
Oh.
Very good. Very clever.
3.8% evil pumpkin beer, apparently.
So is it pumpkin flavoured or?
I'm about to let you know. No, it tastes like beer.
Doesn't taste like pumpkin.
Well,
yeah, your turn.
yes. So, due to some acute food poisoning, tonight I am drinking Dior. And that's all I've got to say on that matter.
Cheers.
Yeah. And the connection with
yes.
Disney is that it's a bit like eating at GW calls on the 192 before that shut down.
Or it could also be a little bit like it sounds a little bit like the Electric Parade. It's such a loose connection. I'm not even going to follow that up.
The Main Street Electrolyte Parade.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, fair enough.
And if anyone's got any other fantastic puns like that, of course you can contact us via our website at www.disafterdark.com or email us at podcast@disafterdark.com.
Or you can tweet us on @Disafterdark. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/Disafterdark, and nicechat.com.
Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube, where I've started putting some of the videos from this August on. You'll see my
Indeed, V24 Radio as well.
Yeah. We get everywhere, don't we?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Anyone think we're actually quite popular?
It's to our own egos.
Yeah, they're sadly mistaken. Right, anyway, anyone who has listened to 1A realised that it was me and Craig rambling for the most part about our vacations. But you two have recently had a break as well. So I reckon it's a case of going straight into it. Who's going to start with a breakdown of where they were over the summer break?
Well, I think only for continuation purposes, I think Mr. Dolan used to carry on with the theme of Walt Disney World.
I think continuity is a good thing most of the time.
Shall we close out the Florida episode then?
Let's do that then.
Okay. All right then. So, we left on the 29th of August. We being me, wife Carrie, daughter Heather, daughter's boyfriend James, and we flew BA out of Gatwick. The day before we left, I had an appointment with the dentist, and as I walked into the dentist surgery, I got a text from BA saying my flight had been cancelled.
Nice.
So, yeah, just as I was going into the chair. So that was the dentist appointment from hell. When I was in the chair, I heard another text come in, and by the time I got out of the chair, they told me that we'd been booked on a later flight on the same day. So panic over, dentist appointment over. We did twilight check-in, and our new rebooked flight, which was later in the day, was then delayed by 6 hours. So the first day was getting a journey from hell, really.
You're only about 20 minutes from Gatwick, anyway.
Yeah.
So your twilight check-in was finish work, drive up, drop the cases, and then go home.
That was it. Yeah, pretty much. And then the next day we just walked to the station and got a train right into Gatwick. So nice from that point of view.
Yeah.
Anyway, we eventually did get to Florida. The flight was fine. We got to Florida, picked up our car. We rented a car with National. It was fine. We got a full-size car, just a normal thing. We then made our way to Old Key West, where we stayed. We had 17 nights in Old Key West, but we didn't actually get to bed until 2 a.m. Florida time, which by that time we'd been up for like 24 hours. So it was an episode of The Walking Dead as we unpacked cases and got ourselves into the resort. But we had a nice experience when we got there. We got a nice box. In the box was our 4 customized magic bands. So, little tip for anybody who's staying on.
How customized?
Well, you can choose a colour essentially.
Yep.
So there's a range of colours. I don't remember exactly how many, and we chose a different colour each, so we didn't get confused. And they come in quite a posh box. It's a themed, Fast Pass Plus or my Magic Experience box.
Right.
And they've also got your name etched on the inside of the band.
Oh, right.
Yeah. If you don't choose, then you get a grey band. So that's just a little tip for anybody going out there. Go online, get yourself an account with what's the app called?
Just my Disney experience. Isn't it?
My Disney Experience, that's it. Sign up for an account and you can link your reservation. You can go on there and you can do your fast passes, your dining reservation. You can also choose the colour of your magic bands.
Yeah, because we bought our magic bands in the actual park after we had our normal RFID touch tickets sent to us. And yeah, we got to pick which colours off of the shelf. But
So what are they, about $12 or $13?
Yeah, I seem to remember being about $12 or $13, but it's just a blinding, fleeting memory of getting a credit card out at some point over the holiday, and then you add it up and check it all when you get home.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the benefit of having my 2 daughters with me. It's like, Daddy, I want.
Yeah.
So.
I will say I thought the magic bands worked really well. They're really clever. I know initially people had problems with them, but we never had any problems with our magic bands. So you could use them to access your room. So it was your room key. You could charge anything. From what you've said, Paul, you've experienced that part of it. You could charge stuff to the room. It was your fast passes. So you just swipe them as you go into the attraction. So everything was on there and it all worked really well. Didn't have any problems at all.
Did you do any of or get suckered into buying any of the little clip-on decorations?
We didn't, but my daughter Heather did. She actually found 2. So by the end of the holiday, she had a couple of those.
Yeah, if you really want to find them, go to the water parks.
Yeah.
Because they'll be floating around there. We lost most of ours.
Yeah.
The water parks. So, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, so it was, we had a 1-bed villa, Old Key West. That's the 3rd time we've been to Old Key West. And really like it. I think it's a great resort. It's a good location. It's got good amenities. It's really peaceful. I think it's just got a good atmosphere.
So with one bedroom, does that mean you and the wife had the bedroom? The other lot, is there pull-out beds or?
Yeah, there's 3 or 4, I think. There's 2 queen-size sofas it's like a big lounge, come dining room, come kitchen.
Yeah.
One massive open plan room. And there's 2 queen-size sofas, I think, and then there's a single pull-out chair as well. So I think they sleep 7, if I remember correctly. And then you get there's like a bathroom area, so toilet, bath, or jacuzzi bath.
Yeah.
And then there's another bathroom with a shower, and then you get a little laundry room, and then there's a balcony with tables and chairs and that sort of thing.
With the little pull-out bed, did you ever find yourself actually folding it back first thing in the morning so you could sit on it as a sofa? Or did housekeeping do that? Or it was like, nah, it's a bed now, sod it.
Yeah, we just left it as a bed. I mean, the room was big enough that it was in the corner, as a bed the whole time out of the way. But, we only used the room for breakfast, and we had that on the balcony, and shower, change, sleep. That was it. We did spend a bit of time at the resort, but that was really at the pool and around the pool. We had a room that was right by one of the quiet pools. So there's a main resort pool, and then there's a number of quiet pools spread within the resort, and they're quite big. So we kind of had almost our own private pool, really, because the time we went, first couple of weeks in September, there were a few people around, but it was relatively quiet. So yeah, great. We had the dining plan, so we made good use of that. We booked everything up in advance. But then, as we were talking about last week, we did actually switch quite a few reservations, and we didn't have any problems getting any reservations. However, that said, they weren't like the prime ones like St. Vill's Castle or anything like that. We tried a few new places, so we had some old favourites, but we did try a couple of new places. We tried Tokyo Dining, which is pretty good. I like that.
That's the one that's upstairs but at the front, isn't it?
Yeah, so you got Teppanydo at the back, which is where you sit around the hot plate and the chef cooks all in front of you. Yeah. So we did that at the beginning of the holiday, and towards the end we did Tokyo Dining, which is like sushi and tempura, which is like fried. They didn't have any Mars bars. I did ask. Right, I was looking for a Mars bar bento box, but he didn't do that. So I wrote a little suggestion card for him.
So we've done the Teppanydo for the last couple of holidays, but we had it booked for one this time, but we ended up cancelling it because we actually went up the International Drive. We found a place called Benihana.
Right, yeah, that's like a chain of those places, isn't it?
Given the choice between Teppanydo and Benihana, we actually found the menu and the food in Benihana to be really nice as well. Yeah. So it's like, well, we can't do 2 teppanyaki, hibachi barbecue type things in the same holiday. You don't come to Florida to eat Japanese food necessarily. So we cancelled our Teppanydo one for that.
Yeah. But being on the dining plan, we're a kind of captive audience, so we do enjoy it. We've been to Teppanydo a few times. You're not, depending on the size of your group, you might be sitting with somebody else. In this case, we sat with an American couple and their son, 10, and it was good. We chatted, but they were kind of at one side of it. We were at the other side, so we talked a little bit, and then they talked among themselves, and we talked among ourselves. So it wasn't uncomfortable. It was quite nice, quite sociable. But we did. So that Tokyo Dining was a new one for us. We tried California Grill. We've been there before, but it's been refurbished.
How is it since the refurb?
Yeah, it's nice. It's as good as it was before. The restaurant's got a new look. It's a bit more modern, and they've got a new deck. So for anybody who's been there, you can watch the fireworks from a deck on the side of the restaurant. Well, now they've put another one on the other side, and they pipe in music, and you can watch the fireworks from there. It's a great view. Yeah. And the food we had on there was really good, so we enjoyed that. Let's see, what else did we do that we've never done before? The big one for us was we had a big wedding anniversary, so as a celebration we went to Victoria and Albert's, which isn't on the dining plan. And
Viennese isn't on the dining plan.
nah.
Not even for 3 credits.
No, not at all. No. It was a good experience. I mean, we dressed up for it, but not a tie, but I had a shirt and a jacket. And
I was expecting ghillie shoes and a kilt.
Yeah, kilt. I should have taken my kilt. Yeah, it's that opportunity. So we did get a little bit dressed up. It wasn't, like I say, it wasn't shirt and tie. You didn't have to wear a shirt and a tie, but it was quite smart. It's quite a small restaurant. I was surprised. It's kind of dimly lit. It's like a hexagonal-shaped restaurant.
Okay.
When we were there was maybe 6 or 7 tables that were occupied when we went, so it was quite quiet. The food is really good. It's a 7-course tasting menu. Plus, they give you a few little things before, and then you get like chocolates and coffee and things like that afterwards.
Yeah.
But we must have been in there for 2.5 hours, so it's quite a long meal. Really enjoyed it. Great food, nice atmosphere. They did this weird coffee thing where they bring this. It's like 2 chemistry flasks that they bring to the table, and you actually cook your coffee at the table. And it's weird. Water goes in one bit, and the water gets sucked up into this other bit, which then magically turns into coffee, and then it gets dropped back down to the other bit. It's really complicated. That's why you got to pay so much for the restaurant.
Yeah, I just want to cost them.
Yeah. But it was a good experience. Would I do it again? Well, I certainly wouldn't do it, very often. It's quite expensive. It cost us, with the tip, it was, I think, $380 for the 2 of us, and we didn't have any other wine pairings or anything like that. We did have they did open it looked like a bottle of champagne, but it was actually sparkling non-alcoholic cider, and they didn't charge us for that, which was amazing.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, but you can't get drunk on it. It's non-alcoholic. But that was a good experience.
Not having that kind of behaviour in Viennese.
Not at all. It's very nice. If you want a real special celebration meal, then it's a good place. But we've probably done it one and done, I think.
Yeah. There's an age limit in there, isn't there?
Yeah, I think you've got to be 21, I think, to get in.
Yeah. No kids running around.
No, not at all. No, it's all very posh and proper, but it wasn't too stuffy though. I mean, cast members are really friendly, just like all the other cast members.
Yep.
And although you can sense that it is, more upmarket and a little bit posher, they do try and make you feel comfortable. They don't kind of go overboard on the stuffiness factor. Good. We did Mickey's Not So Scary, the same as you, Paul.
Yes.
Did that on the. It was actually our last night, so that was the 14th, I think we did that, September the 14th.
Was it nice and dry?
It was nice and dry, yeah. It was a great night. I know you got a lot of rain, or a bit of rain, but we didn't have any rain. As we talked about before, I thought the parade was really good. Special Halloween parade, the fireworks really good, Hallowishers. And before that, they had to celebrate the Magic light show.
Yes.
And we had a really good spot for that. We were right in the hub, right in front of the castle. We didn't have any problem getting a spot for the parade or the fireworks. It was busy, but there were plenty of spaces.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
And did you partake in the going around trick or treating?
Oh yeah, we ended up with a huge bag full of.
It would be rude not to, even as a fully grown, proper, mature adult.
Definitely.
Did I just describe a member of the Disafterdark team as a proper, mature adult?
Yeah, well, I was assuming that you were talking about the other people.
The wife.
Yeah.
So you can edit it in post if you need to.
Yeah.
That'll be half the beer gone already.
That's it. Although she did get to the point in the evening where she was actually, it was trick or treat, but then she was actually had her head in the bucket, picking out the chocolate that she liked.
Yeah.
The cast members were actually helping her. They were actually rummaging through the basket looking for the chocolate that she wanted.
I don't eat that foul-tasting Hershey's rubbish.
So, on your adventure, was there any exciting characters that you saw?
I did mention at a Halloween party we did see Jack Skellington and Sally. That was quite good. We did one character breakfast in the Crystal Palace, so we saw Pooh and friends. Tried to offer Piglet a bacon sandwich. He wasn't having it. I don't know why. But that was the only character meal that we did. Saw plenty of characters in the park. We didn't see Anna and Elsa, although the wait was only about maybe just over an hour and a half for the time that we were there.
Yeah.
We didn't get to ride the main train until that Halloween party. We had fast passes for earlier in the holiday, and that's one thing I felt. I agreed with what you said, Paul. You book the fast passes, and it isn't as good a system. You forget you've got them, or you forget to look at your phone. If the ride's down, you get an email, which on holiday I don't want to read email, so I would have preferred if they'd sent us a text or something like that straight to the phone. The fast pass plus system. I mean, it works fine, but I guess it requires a different type of mentality because
it has its strengths and weaknesses. But my personal opinion is that the weaknesses are outnumber the strengths at the moment.
Yeah, I think so. And it because it was so quiet, because it was relatively quiet. It didn't matter so much for us. There was only a couple of rides that really mattered, and that was Toy Story Midway Mania and the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Everything else, the most that you were going to wait was like 20 minutes. So, apart from maybe sometimes on Sovereign and Test Track, sometimes they were up about 40, 45 minutes. But again, if you picked your time, you could get on there in 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So.
Now, we didn't speak about it too much on the last show, but both of you guys, as well as Craig, have been on the new Mine Train ride.
Yeah.
What were your opinions of it?
So, a little bit similar to the Harry Potter ride. I really thought the Mine Train, again, Fantasyland looks great, New Fantasyland looks great. Demon on the Mine Train is fantastic. We got some nice little things in the queue, nice little interactive. But at the end of it, for me it was somewhat similar to the Harry Potter ride because it felt like it was something and nothing really. It was good and it was some roller coaster, but it wasn't like a really thrilling roller coaster. I mean, probably good for younger kids, which is the target audience. For your first roller coaster, it's a good one. It's nice and smooth.
Yeah, I think they class it. It's a family thrill.
Yeah.
Thrill is pushing it a bit, but that's the name they've given it. I thought the queue area, the majority of the queue was just a queue. It wound through some woodland and past some fences. Okay, it's a queue. And then you get to the interactive areas of the queue. And especially having the two little girls that we had, the problem with the interactive queues, and the Adventures of Winnie the Pooh had the same issues, is that they're in the one area, and if the queue is actually moving, you end up either standing behind someone who's spending and their kids, young kids, are spending longer just playing the interactive games and moving things around, at which point a massive gap in the queue, and you can either zip straight past them, essentially pushing in front of them, just because they were there, unless your kids want to play on it, and then they suddenly see the gap, they fill in the gap, your kids have a play, and you either feel guilty because you're holding up the rest of the queue, or you're just like going, well, there you go, you've moved that thing, you've put your hand under the magic dripping tap that plays a tune, now move on. And they don't really get a lot of time for it.
Yeah.
So if they took the interactive elements and spread them out throughout the queue, great. But they just seem all to be a bit compact, and if the queue's moving, they're kind of pointless.
Yeah.
So it would be nicer.
It's like Space Mountain. I quite like those little games in the queue in Space Mountain, but you end up being kind of torn and conflicted, to continue through the game or to move up the queue.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean by that. So we did like the Mine Train.
Yeah.
And
it's a good fun run, and it's really quite well done.
Yeah.
So,
And we didn't get to be our guest. The one day that we tried to get in there for lunch, there was actually a queue. The restaurant was full, and so there was a queue outside. And we didn't get a chance to go back and try it. So that's one for next time, I think. But it's obviously very popular.
Yeah, there's always got to be something left for next time.
That's right. You never get everything done.
And maybe it'll be less popular next time because Pandora, the world of Avatar, will be open, and we'll just be dragging the guests in off the streets, kicking and screaming.
We spent a bit of time in Gaston's Tavern.
Be rude not to.
Nicely done. Yeah, a little drinky in there.
Getting a massive ice cream headache.
One thing about FastPass Plus though is, although you're limited to the hour, we a couple of times we did actually go late, and they did let us in. We did push it a couple of times up to about an hour. So when you present your FastPass to the little Mickey head, instead of turning green, it turns blue, and then the cast member comes over, and we just explained, we'd been held up. I think it was a dinner thing.
Your stupid app didn't remind me.
Yeah, and they kind of, they look at you slightly disapprovingly, but then they let you in. So we didn't push that too much, but it did happen a couple of times.
With the stare of a disappointed parent.
Yeah, I mean, slight shake of the head,
So, I mean, did you get off-site at all?
We did, yeah. We were there for 17 nights, and we thought first couple of days we would basically do off-site activities, and then we would buy a 14-day pass. So it was a bit odd. We were actually on site for 3 days before our pass kicked in. So we did one day, which was a kind of shopping mall, supermarket run, a shopping day, if you like. Yeah. That was our first day when we were jet lagged and tired. And then we did Universal. We had some Universal tickets. We did Universal twice, 2 days. And then we did a day at Clearwater. Went to the beach, and we'd been told about this little boat called Little Toot. It's like a tugboat that's been converted to do dolphin trips. So it takes you out of the bay, and we did see 2 dolphins and a baby dolphin. It was quite nice. It was quite a good trip, and the beach is nice at Clearwater. First time we've been there.
Yeah, Clearwater was an area. I mean, we stayed there last time. We thought it's a really nice area, but we went in October, towards the end of October, and found it very quiet.
Yeah.
At that time of year, but I can imagine during the summer it must be really buzzing.
We were there.
How far was the drive?
About an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes, something like that. Yeah, and we were there on Labour Day, so it was a little bit busy. It was a holiday Monday, and the beach was pretty busy. But it is a really nice beach, and the sea must have been about body temperature. It was like a hot bath, really.
Yeah,
it's
very warm.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate the sea, but that is a lovely temperature.
Yeah. No, it's good. And we did 2 days at Universal, and we did manage. The first day we were at Islands of Adventure mainly, and then the second day we got to Diagon Alley. We had a look around Diagon Alley. I know we talked about that last time, episode 1A. Thought it was really well done, very realistic, very clever. Yeah, I know what Craig means when he says it's the best themed shopping mall, and I do agree to some extent, but there are some nice little touches, and if you treat it as one land, so if you take the train to Hogsmeade, you get one experience, and then we rode the Dragon Challenge and did the Forbidden Journey, in Castle. And then we came back and get a different experience, and then we went around Diagon Alley, and the ride was actually down, and I had the Lines app, so it kept saying that the line was down. And we thought, good God, this is our last chance to get on it. And we then went away from Diagon Alley, and we rode Transformers, the new Transformers ride, which is really good, really clever, but I still prefer Spider-Man, personally. And then we thought, right, we'll go back to Diagon Alley and see if the ride's up, and it wasn't. And then we thought, right, we'll get some lunch. And just as we were going into lunch, I noticed a little bit of commotion and ran across, talked to the cast member, and they just opened the ride, so we got straight on it. No wait.
I remember riding Transformers this time. I noticed. I can't remember whether it was one of our shows a few shows ago, or whether I was talking about Singapore, with Universal Singapore with Lee and Tracy on Universal Orlando podcast. I found at that point that their version of Transformers was a little bit out of focus, and the 3D didn't really work for me. But I have to admit, I stand corrected. The Orlando version is either more modern, they've calibrated the projectors better, because it actually seemed to be in focus and in 3D.
Yeah.
Rather than just looking fuzzy and giving me a headache and making me feel sick. So yeah, I actually quite like Transformers.
I mean, I don't think much of the movies, but I quite enjoyed the ride. And we got our photographs taken with Optimus Prime outside. And that's really clever, you know. Did you see the characters?
No, it started raining. He must have gone indoors because it had rusted his chrome or something.
That's right. I mean, it looks. There's two of them. There's Optimus Prime, and then there's is it Megatron?
Is it? Or I don't know.
The baddie.
All right, yeah.
And these things are about I don't know, 7.5 feet tall, 8 feet tall. And it's a guy in a suit, but it's really well done, really clever, and they pose for photographs. So yeah, that was pretty good. We went to the ice cream parlour in Diagon Alley. They got some weird ice cream flavours there, and I got the chocolate with chili, and oh my god, it blew your head off. There's so much chili in it.
It makes you think that of all the restaurants in theme parks everywhere, this is where they experiment. They've almost got Heston Blumenthal to come and go, tell you what, we're opening up a Harry Potter themed area. Make us an ice cream.
Yeah. I don't know who came up with that one. I mean, I know chocolate and chili is a combination, but wow, it's way too much chili for me. But then I did have a butterbeer ice cream, which is a soft serve ice cream. So most of what they serve comes out of a tub.
Yeah.
The butterbeer is a soft serve. It's like a swirl, and it's really nice. It's kind of butterscotchy flavour. It's good.
Yeah. Do they do that as a butterbeer float as well?
I don't think so. No, I think we just got the ice cream, and then obviously you can have the two butterbeers, regular and frozen.
Because I wonder if you would have a butterbeer float with butterbeer ice cream, soft serve on top of it, would that compete against the Dole Whip in the soft serve ice cream topped drinks world championship?
I think it's a good challenge to throw down that one, really.
Yeah. The gauntlet has been thrown down.
Yeah. I think that's one I've got to try. Yep, you got to get an ice cream and then you got to run across, get a butterbeer and just slap it in there.
It's just like, I want that one floated like that.
Yeah, and there's no fruit involved, so
there's
a plus.
Just pure butterscotch in a cup.
Yeah.
Oh dear. There goes the insulin.
Yeah.
Oh dear. 17 days, 17 nights.
Yeah.
That's like you couldn't quite make up your mind between 2 weeks and 3 weeks.
Yeah, we just 3 weeks was just a bit of a challenge in terms of the amount of holidays I'd left. So it's good because it means you've been there for a couple of days. You've got over your jet lag. You've done a few of the other things like your shopping day and a day at Universal and that kind of thing, and you've still got 2 weeks left. So it's a good feeling. So we've often done 17 or 18 nights.
I asked the same question, got the same idea out of Craig last show. You were staying on Disney property, but still, obviously because you did the shopping days and you did Universal, you had a car.
Yeah.
But did you find yourself using it and then parking in the Disney car parks, or did you stay on site and then leave it in the hotel car park for the day and use all the buses?
Yeah, it was a bit of a mix, really. I mean, when I'm on holiday and we're staying on Disney, I actually quite like using the Disney transport, even the buses. I know some people don't like the buses, but if we're going to go to the Magic Kingdom, it is much easier to take a bus, right? So whenever we go to the Magic Kingdom, it's almost always a bus. The only exception to that was a couple of meals that we had. So we had a meal in Ohana's, we had a meal in Kona Cafe, and then obviously we had the California Grill. So with Oswald's, you can drive to the resort. They will swipe your magic band, so you can say that you've got a reservation, but they will check. So,
there's another thing they're doing now, because you used to just open your mouth and say the words, but
that's right, and they didn't bother checking, but now they will check. So if you've got a magic band swiped. It wasn't so much of an issue. You know, we went to Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I don't think they swiped our magic bands there. It's really the monorail resorts that they're checking on. So normally at Magic Kingdom, you know, we'll take the bus, and then it just depends really. There's a boat from Old Key West to downtown Disney, so sometimes we take the boat.
It's the same one as the Port Orleans, isn't it?
Yeah, same sort of type of boat.
Yeah.
And it would be a mix. I mean, we take the car sometimes, and sometimes we take the bus. If it's downtown Disney or the water parks or the Animal Kingdom, then we tend to drive because it's a shared bus. So you go Old Key West to Blizzard Beach to the Animal Kingdom and back again, and that's just a pain.
Yeah.
But the car I think is essential, even if you're on site. The car is just so good. I mean, even, you know, we take a run out to the supermarket and get some supplies and, you know, bring them back for breakfast. So we'd normally have breakfast in the room, and then obviously on the dining plan we'd eat out for lunch and dinner. So the car is essential, I think.
I mean, we were off-site, so we had to have the biggest car we could possibly fit all of our suitcases in. But I'm wondering if the next time I go, we'll stay on-site and book the Magical Express for everyone else, so they can stick the suitcases in there, and then I can rent a convertible Mustang or something. Just meet them back at the resort.
Yeah, that's a good plan.
I'll see you when we're there, and then you can put the suitcases that way.
We did have an issue because we rented a full-size car, and so when we got there and we loaded the suitcases in the boot, it was fine, or the trunk for American listeners. It was fine. We got the big cases in the back, and we had a couple of hand luggage bags in the back of the car, but it was fine. There was plenty of room. However, on the last day, literally the last morning, I went to go to the car and we had a flat tyre. There was a nail right in the flat tyre, and it was our last day. So I thought, there's no way I'm going to phone National and start messing about. No. I'm gonna change the tyre, which seemed like a good idea.
Space saver.
It was a space saver. So the problem with that is, where do you put this full-size tyre? Because the hole for the space is too bloody small. So it ends up taking up half the boot, and so we ended up with cases inside the car on the way back to work.
Oh dear.
I was the driver, so it didn't bother me. I'm sitting up front. I had a few complaints from the people on the cheap seats.
Oh dear. So on your last day, what time was your flight back?
It's about 8 o'clock at night, I think.
Yeah. So what did you do for the last day?
Last day was a bit of a disaster, really, because obviously we had that puncture, and then my daughter had bought something that it wasn't the right size, and she wanted to take that back. So we ended up kind of messing around a little bit in the morning. We did have a nice lunch. We had so when I went to check out, we knew we had some quick service credits left on our dining plan, and that was going to be our lunch, and then also a kind of early dinner before we went back to the airport. And I went to check out, and the guy at reception said, "Have you got a dining plan?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I'll just check what you've got left on the dining plan." I said, "It's okay. I know what we've got left. We've got 8 quick service meals." So he printed this thing off, and he said, "Actually, you don't have 8 quick service meals. You've got 9 quick service meals and 4 table service meals." And I think there was. We went back and checked later on, and we didn't miscount. So at some point, we didn't get charged for a meal.
Nicely done.
Yeah. So
a little bit of Disney magic for you.
A bit of Disney magic, and so we had lunch at Olivia's, which is the restaurant on site in Old Key West. And it was good. And then I think we went to downtown Disney for a little while, and then we headed for the airport about 4 o'clock, 4:30, something like that.
Plenty of time to walk around Orlando.
Yeah. Our original plan was to go to the Epcot, but because of the puncture and everything else, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it was okay.
The moment one person starts getting a bit stressed, that was it. It's like, no, don't push this. Don't push this. Dear, fantastic. Sounds like you had a good time.
Yeah, great time. Yeah.
We wouldn't be doing a Disney podcast if we didn't have good times.
Yeah.
Then again, we wouldn't be quite so curmudgeonly if we didn't have flat tires occasionally. Nick.
Well, talking about good times.
Yeah, I gotta say, while we were slumming it out in Florida, Alice, Lindsay, and yourself.
Yes, indeed.
Where else were?
And squash, of course.
Yeah.
Now, to start off this, I don't know. I assume they do it for other Disney parks as well. But a little tip for anyone that wants to know is that if you contact Disney, you contact Disney stores, they will actually send you out invitations to the Disney parks.
Right.
So the first thing I did was got some invitations sent out to the kids.
Okay. Cool.
Contacted them, said where we're going, when we're going, and who is going with us. Yep. And as we don't know who Squash is yet, because Squash hasn't been born yet, I got one for each of the two eventualities it could be, so that they're covered in the future, of course. Right. And they come swiftly sent in the post, written by Mickey.
Okay.
Nice.
And they come princess or prince, depending on.
So you've got one of each, and that's gone into a scrapbook for potential use in the future.
That's right.
Excellent.
For a lovely start. Can't be bothered to give details here, but anyone wants to private message me on Twitter or Facebook, then I can give the details for that. So we went from...
You can always give me the details, and then I'll put them in the show notes.
Oh, I could do that. That's much easier.
Or I could just say I'm going to put them in the show notes and then not do it.
Yeah, so try one of the options.
Yeah.
So we went from Ebbsfleet, which is where we went from before, taking the Eurostar. Ebbsfleet is a very nice half-hour drive or so from where we live, so nice and easy. And Ebbsfleet, once again, amazed with the staff at Eurostar Port. They're very, very good there. It's not a very busy terminal, which is probably why it's so nice. But nonetheless, very quick, very easy, very helpful getting us through with a baby and buggy and whatnot.
For the record, is Ebbsfleet, is it the first stop, or did it come from St Pancras?
Yeah, it always comes from St Pancras.
It didn't start at Ebbsfleet, this one.
That's right, yeah. So it's always St Pancras, and it normally goes Ebbsfleet, Ashford, Lille. Sometimes stops at Calais before Lille, but it's one of those kind of combinations. Yeah. The train we was going on wasn't direct, so we did get off at Lille. Right. We had about an hour stopover, which was fine. The train station hasn't got much there. It's got a few shops and toilet facility and all that kind of malarkey. But not long to wait, and then we was back on the TGV to Disneyland Paris.
Do you find that is it an English case of over-egging our particular pudding? But St Pancras and Ebbsfleet are Ebbsfleet International Rail Station. And you get to Lille, which is on the same line, so would also technically be international, but it's just Lille. Yeah,
I don't get it either. I think it's just
international. It's the English overcomplicating things again.
Yeah, you know what the French are like. They're not very modest, are they? Let's be honest. So that's probably why. But yeah, I think all in all, it took about 3 hours train to train. Right. So I couldn't really complain. Alice was pretty well behaved on the whole thing. The only issue we had with luggage and that, because we took a little buggy with us as well this time, because Disneyland Paris do have buggies, but they're more described as wheelchairs.
Yeah.
They're very, very big, bulky things.
It's made of scaffold poles and plastic seat.
Yeah, honestly, it looks like something you'd knock up at a building site. They're okay if your kids are probably about 3, 4, that kind of age, but anything younger than that, they're a little bit too small. Yeah. So we had Alice in it the first time around when she was only like a few months old, and we made do, but only because we had to. It wasn't very practical. So this time we learnt the lesson and took a lightweight buggy with us. But with the luggage and with the buggy, and with how packed the TGVs can be, it was quite a struggle to get on. I will say that there were some very helpful people on board who were not of the English nationality, who were very helpful. No, not even staff. Just people on the train who saw the struggle and were very quick to assist. So that was very kind of them there. And the thing is, a lot of the time when you listen to English people speak about the French, we're not very kind to them. But to be honest, I've never actually had a problem with them. Even my very, very limited grasp of French, they've always been very nice to me. So, once again, they proved they're not as one person put it, cheese-eating surrender monkeys that we all think they are. So I like the French, and I'm proud to say it. Anyway, we got to Disneyland Paris, and first stop was to drop everything off at the hotel, just to kind of get everything in check.
And we were staying
at the Elysee,
right,
which is actually at Val d'Europe, literally one tube stop away or 5 minutes on the bus. And just across the road from the supermarket.
So is that the TGV into the Disneyland Paris?
TGV into Marne-la-Vallée, and then straight back out to Val d'Europe on the tube or the bus.
Oh, you got that close to the park and then had to go out.
Yeah, pretty much. But the thing is, we could have, if Lindsay wasn't quite so tired and wanted to just organise stuff a bit better, we'd have gone straight in, because as a passport holder, my luggage can be held at the front desk. Yeah. But she wanted to get to the hotel, so that's fine. So we did that. As I said, 5 minutes on the bus, about 2 minutes on the tube, nice and simple. And the hotel was literally across the road. Very, very nice hotel. Stayed there many a time. Always good staff. Always clean and tidy. No bottle warmer available when we got in there, but it wasn't really that much of a problem. We had other ways of warming the bottle up, so it was fine. Dropped the stuff off, sorted some things out, got changed, went out to the park. And the first day we decided to make our Dreams night as well.
All right, okay.
So we wanted to see Dreams, which was great. Alice was awake all the way up to the point when the show started, fell asleep, and promptly woke up as it finished. So she saw it the first time, I suppose. So, yeah. So that's fine. We enjoyed it. So that was the main thing. And we stayed quite back. We stayed to the top of Main Street at this point, because we've seen it up close a couple of times already. Yeah. So we got a good view. Didn't have to be up that close to it, and we've got easy access out the park.
You say you've seen it a couple of times already. Do you recognise any changes in it?
No, the only change in the regular version of Dreams that I'm aware of is they've added a scene of Brave.
Okay. With
Merida. That was put in there quite early on. I think only about 6 months into the run of when Dreams opened. I know we're starting a new sort of Christmas version, which has got some extra scenes in there and some Frozen bits, but none of that's been incorporated in yet. To be honest, I think it's only a matter of time before they start putting Frozen stuff in it all year round. It's just so damn popular.
Given that Anna and Elsa are in fact due to be in the park at some point.
Well, this Christmas, they will be there. So, give it time and it'll be there all year round. But, still a great show. Still, my favourite of the nighttime shows that I've seen. So, still very good. The next day, we actually went on quite a few attractions this time. So one thing we didn't do last time was go on anything. We went on It's a Small World and Alice's Curious Labyrinth last time in our 3-day trip. This time we went for 4 days. To be honest, this trip was so much better than the first one we had with Alice, purely because now she's of an age where she's running around and kind of like looking at everything properly.
Actually told
that's it. And the first time we went to Cafe Mickey for lunch, and she met Mickey Mouse, and it was the first time she really kind of recognised him. When she got back, she got a bit obsessed with him watching on telly and whatnot. So we were a bit concerned this time, knowing how much she loved like a cuddly toy of him and watching on telly how she'd be when she saw him in person again. Luckily, loved it. Whenever she met Mickey a couple of times, she met Minnie once as well, and both times they did that thing they do with little kids where they kind of kneel down on the floor to let them come towards them, and she got very shy and coy and went towards them, then ran back a little bit, and then ended up going off towards them. and she kissed him on the nose, and it was, heart melting. It was lovely. Because Lindsay was pregnant, we got a pregnancy pass, which I recommend anyone doing. Mainly if you're pregnant. If you can fake notes and put a pill up your dress or whatever, great. That could also possibly work.
If you're a bloke, not a chance.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get away, but they're quite stringent on it. But what was good is it meant that we were able to get to not to the front of character meet and greets, but they would do is that, like where they have the disabled entrance, they would let you wait there, and they would just push you to the front a lot quicker than if you was queuing up. So you might have to wait 5 minutes or something rather than 30 minutes. Whatever it is. And the meet and greet with Mickey inside the cinema, there's a wheelchair entrance for that, so you just go there, show your pass, and they let you party in to have your photo. So that was why I was able to do it a couple of times. Very good. So we went on a few rides. Obviously, because of Lindsay being pregnant, there was only so many things she could go on, so we went on everything like that. So she couldn't go on Snow White, or Pinocchio, or Peter Pan. Must have been the lap bar. So she couldn't go on those, but she could go on Dumbo. Okay. So she went on that with Alice. Yeah. And couldn't go on the teacups. I'm guessing that was probably more to do with the movement.
Yeah.
So I took Alice on that one, which she loved. Alice loved Alice as well. Well, yeah, you don't want that. You really don't want that. Alice loved It's a Small World and kept wanting to go back on that. So we did go on that about 3 or 4 times. But I can tolerate it. It's funny how when you're seeing someone's enjoyment of something so much, you can actually tolerate things you used to hate. Yeah. So I did that. And that was the next day. Then it was studio day. Okay. So the plan originally was to get up early, go and get fast passes to go on Ratatouille, to make sure I got on. Because again, Lindsay couldn't go on it, and again that was due to, I think, the lap bar. It's not a particularly quick ride, and I'll go into a bit more detail in a minute as to what it is. But we didn't get up early. We got quite late, as we had done every day.
I've always promised that every time I go to Paris, but never actually manage it.
Well, we did all right the first time we went with Alice, but this time I just think, being pregnant as well, there just wasn't like the urgencies you'd like to have done. Probably as well, we didn't have to get breakfast in Salon Mickey, so that was probably another instigation. But we got to the studio and we saw Disney Junior Live. Which have you done that, Paul? Disney Junior Live?
No.
Now, obviously, we've never had to do that before. Never had the want or need to do it before. But I've got to say, it's actually pretty good.
So what is it? I'm trying to think if that's a new one or is that the one that? Because the last one I did there was a Stitch interactive thing.
So Stitch is next door.
Yeah.
They're almost adjacent to each other.
No, I haven't done the Disney.
Yeah. And what you do is you get a very enthusiastic cast member. They do it in English and in French. So we went to an English showing of the show, and you get a very enthusiastic cast member come dressed up in quite colourful clothing, and they go through the world of Disney Junior. What they do is they have 4 cartoons. Yep. So they have Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, they have Tigger and Me, I think it's called. I don't know, it's not shown anymore.
In that case, I have to go and do it.
Yeah, Little Einsteins, which again is another one I don't really show anymore, and Handy Manny as well. What's good about it though is it's got a good set, so everything, they turn the set around and it's like the next set, so they'll have Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, then they'll have another set and whatever. Yeah. But all the characters are puppets.
Okay.
So rather than it just being like, someone dressed up as Mickey Mouse coming out, they're like Muppet-sized versions of them.
All right.
And they sing and talk and everything like that. So it's good because it's a bit more unique than what you expect it's going to be. It's very simple. It's very kid friendly. A lot of interaction and stuff. And, it's just a lot of fun. But the kids really got a big kick out of it. And from my point of view, it was different to things like Animagique, where it's just people in costumes dancing on stage that you can see all over the park. It was just something a little bit different. So I thought it was pretty cool. For what it was pretty good. did that. We did Animagique, like I said, and she loved that as well. So that was great because I don't think there's much life left in that one. So, if that turns into soaring like it could well be, good.
Rumour has it.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Then it was time to have a bit of lunch and then to go around to see exactly how big the queue was going to be for Ratatouille. Got round there. Actually, no, sorry. So before I went round there to go on it, the first one I went round there and it was a 40-minute wait for single rider.
Ooh,
so I was like, okay, it's a little bit long. It's not really fair to leave the girls out for that long alone. So I thought I'd go back a bit later on.
Single rider line.
Yeah. So anyway, the next time I went back, 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Now this is Ratatouille. This is the big e-ticket attraction that's saving Disneyland Paris's fortunes. 5 minutes single rider. So I went on, got cracking. Got on, picked up my glasses. Now the problem with the single rider line and the fast pass line is you obviously skip the indoor bit.
Like the single rider line for Escape from Gringotts.
Yeah. So I can't actually comment on what that's like inside. I could see just over the wall a little bit, and it seemed quite well themed. There was a sign for Gusteau's and everything, and you could hear what was being said, but you couldn't see anything. So what I could see looked very impressive, but I couldn't actually tell you what it was. But what I can tell you is between walking through the main entrance and getting on the ride did not take me 5 minutes. It took me about 2.
Yep.
Very quick. Picked up my glasses, went to get on the rat. It's trackless, as we've mentioned before. That's one thing we did know. And it's very weird. These rats come out of the darkness and they all kind of dance around into like different parts for where the gates are. And they kind of crisscross each other and everything. It's very cool. You don't know which one you're going to be getting in until it actually stops. So that's quite cool. And one of the reasons I think the queue keeps going down so quickly is 6 rats go at a time.
Yep.
So it's almost constantly moving. So I can understand why the queues aren't probably quite as big. And essentially, it is like Spider-Man, if we hadn't already guessed. Okay. The difference being is that you're not moving. So on Spider-Man, you'll kind of raise up a little bit and it can tilt forward and all this. None of that.
Okay.
It is just a simple car, trackless, with big 3D screens that don't actually... They make you feel like you're moving, but you're not actually moving. It's not particularly fast. Like Harry Potter, I'd say more than Spider-Man. I'm talking about the Forbidden Journey rather than Gringotts. There are a lot of things within the ride to make it feel like there are things there.
Yeah.
So there's like big legs of ham and stuff like that hanging down, and big fish to make you feel quite small. But for the most part, it's big cinema screens to show you stuff. The 3D works pretty well, but I will say I was a bit disappointed in the quality of it. But the quality of the 3D, I just think I've been spoilt a little bit from seeing other rides, and also the fact that I've got 3D at home now, and I'm quite used to a certain standard. And considering how much these things cost and the projection system involved, I was just a bit underwhelmed. It was a little bit blurry at times. So it was a shame. The ride itself is very good, and I went on it a couple of times. But the first time I went on it, I got about halfway through, and the ride crashed. And it's the first time I've ever been on an attraction, and it's broken down.
Yeah.
I've been very lucky in that regard.
That is lucky, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we were stuck there for 10 minutes. Nothing was being said. The film just kind of stopped. And after about 10 minutes, somebody come on and was like, yes, follow me this way. And that was it. I was ushered out, given a fast pass to return at another time, and that was it. So the first day, I didn't actually complete my journey on Ratatouille. So I went back the next day. The same day, after getting off Ratatouille, I went round to Rock and Roller Coaster just to see what the queue was like there. Yeah. And again, 5 minutes.
Excellent.
Brilliant, I thought. Queued up, just about to get on the train. 2 trains in front of me, crashes. Not literally crashes. I mean the ride crashes.
Yeah.
So so luckily they fixed that, but it did unnerve me a little bit. But I got on and it was fine, so it was okay. But I thought, I can't believe my luck. Never in 12 trips has anything like this happened, and in almost 2 rides in one day.
Yeah.
It wasn't my day. But that was it, and so the rest of the trip was fine. A few big rides were out. Pirates of the Caribbean was out.
How?
The entire trip we were there. I
Tech
think
or down for drainage or
both. I think it was closed from about the beginning of September till quite late in September. It must have only just opened up.
Yeah.
And I mean, so major there was like walls in front of it, so you couldn't see into it at all.
Giving it a clean. I mean, that's extreme just for putting Jack Sparrow in it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think they're putting Jack Sparrow in it just yet. Captain EO was down.
Oh,
I think it's permanently closed now anyway.
Yeah, but
You gotta get rid of that.
Yeah,
You gotta get rid of that.
Yeah, I think it's time as well.
Yeah.
So there was a couple of things like that. There was a lot of stuff going on as well outside the front and within the park. Some of it I felt was related to Halloween and getting stuff ready for Halloween.
Yep.
Some of it I just think was just general maintenance and just improvements to make things a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
There was no signs explaining what anything was, so this was all kind of second guessing. But just from what I could see within gaps and things like that, it looked like they were repairing some of the floor outside the entrance to the parks, and also the steamboats, the paddle boats were down, and that was all being worked on. I don't know if you've seen the pictures.
Oh, from Disney.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean they're in such a bad state. I don't know if they're going to come back.
Right.
Certainly not for a while, anyway.
No, that's going to take some refurb.
I don't know if you've seen those, Paul, but basically the boats are in a really, really bad state. So it was good. Another thing to note as well, my annual passes run out in October and December of this year, and they have gone up €10 from the last few years. I think it's the first price increase they've done for quite a while, to be fair.
€10 doesn't sound a lot though for an annual pass.
Oh, good enough. I mean, the 365-day access one is now €210.
Yeah.
And the fantasy pass, which is like the middle one, is 169 now. I still think excellent value for money.
Yeah.
I really do, considering the benefits you get with them as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise until I got home, but the Dream Pass now gives you 10% off at the Lego store.
Oh, cool.
And there was loads of stuff I wanted to buy in there, and I thought, it's all right. I'll buy it another time. It's not like I'm getting a discount or anything, but I was. So it's a shame, but never mind. But it's probably going to be the last trip I do to Disneyland Paris for a while. We just decided not to renew the passes this year. We're going to take the new little one, probably around a year and a half, 2. And so we just didn't feel, if you renew your pass, before it runs out, you get an extra 6 months, but we really don't envision ourselves going within that time frame. So it's a shame, and there's nothing wrong with the park, and we still enjoyed it and everything like that, but I think we've been the last 4 years, and other than Ratatouille, there's not really been that much that's changed. And it's nice just to get a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
So it's the nature of the beast. What's that?
What about the hotel? Was that good?
Yeah, the hotel's always nice. I mean, one thing I will say to anyone that's looking to go to Disneyland Paris, I'm not saying it's not bad or anything like that, because it hasn't. The food was good, the staff were good, the Spanish were rude, so things don't change. Sorry, Spanish listeners, but but the hotel was great, and there's some really good deals to have if you're prepared to stay off site. And to be honest, unlike the hotels in Florida, I don't think that the Disney hotels are that great value for money on site. They're nice and they're convenient, especially if you're if you stay at somewhere like the New York or the Disneyland Hotel, even easier. Then access to the parks is quick and easy. You can walk there, but most of the places you have to rely on the bus.
Yeah, it's not always a case of you get what you pay for.
No, that's it. And to be honest, the only negative I had with the holiday at all was actually with the buses getting home at night. Our hotel had a free shuttle bus that we decided to get on rather than the train just because it was convenient. And the fighting that almost broke out was crazy. And the fact that, you know, we had, I mean, if Alice was awake, we fold the buggy up. Yeah. I don't like people that, you know, unless you're trying to get your kid to sleep, I don't see why you need to have your buggy open with your kid in it if they're not asleep. So it takes up a lot of room. So we decided not to do that, try and help people out. And it's amazing how many people are just rude with that kind of thing. But also the fact that with all the pushing and shoving, there was clearly a woman that was pregnant, 7 months pregnant, and trying to get her a seat was a nightmare. Trying to get someone to actually like offer her a seat, it was crazy. And again, that wasn't people that we had issues with like that on the buses weren't actually French or Spanish; they were actually English. Yeah. So it just shows, and I see a lot of people, and I was actually posting on something today on Facebook about Disneyland Paris with people saying, well, if the cast members were polite and if the French were nice and blah blah blah, you know, I'd be more inclined to go back. To be honest, when I go to Disneyland, the people that I seem to have more of a problem with are the English.
Yeah, I guess.
Or the Spanish. Yeah, and that's it. And so, to be honest, you know, I wonder sometimes what these... Well, I don't wonder what they do. I see what they do. But I don't know what they're expecting. Because if you're going to be rude to people, you're going to get rudeness back. So, there you go. So anyway,
and some of us are 6 foot and 15.5 stone of rudeness.
Yeah, don't mess. Basically.
Fantastic.
That's it. So that's pretty much Disneyland Paris in a nutshell. So Alice had a great time. We had a great time watching her, and we'll go back at some point in the future.
Yeah, watch the space. Well, I think normal services resumed. We can get back to drinking and talking Disney next week.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah,
sounds like a bad one.
Yeah, if anyone has any need to contact us, they can do that. Somehow.
And of course, they can do that via our website at www.disafterdark.com or email us at podcast@disafterdark.com.
You can find us on Twitter at Disafterdark, facebook.com/Disafterdark, and on nicechat.com.
And Instagram, YouTube, Google+, Bebo, MySpace, and the new one whose name I can't remember that's uber secret and promises not to sell your details to anyone.
Teletext?
I don't know. There's a new one going around called, I can't even remember it, but if you actually read the terms and conditions, they say, we will not sell your details at the moment, but we might do in the future.
Well, at least they're open about it, I
yeah,
suppose.
which is nice to see. But on that, yeah, like I say, normal service will be resumed. And if anyone wants to sing along with our new soundtrack, if you can sing, or even if you think you can sing, or can sing at least that little bit better than our pub singer, drop us a line, because we'll send you some music and some words, and you can sing along for us.
Yeah.
Because we need a new theme song.
Tom Amin, Stefan Bauer.
Yeah. Tom Amin could do the piano bit, because at the moment I just did it on something.
We should actually ask him to do that rather than actually just
order him to do it.
Yeah.
Tom, do it now.
We're going back to those angry guests again, aren't we?
Yeah, we are. On that note, we'll leave it at that, and we'll see you all, dear listener, in 2 weeks' time, possibly around then, because we're going to try and get back on schedule again.
Yeah.
Good thought.
Thank you very much, guys. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Good night.
See you then.
Growing older is mandatory. Growing up is optional. Disafterdark, the podcast that's nearly the same as all the others.
Insert witty saying like you write on someone's leaving card that you don't really like at work. Here. See you later, and we're out.